So I spend a lot of time crocheting, but I probably actually spend more time looking at other people's crochet projects, and the main place I do that is TikTok. So today I'm going to share a bunch of those TikToks that give you that feeling like, damn, crocheting is cool. Some extra creative TikToks that I've seen that I think everyone should see. And yes, I do have a little guest today who wanted to see all the crochet TikToks too. Okay, so the first TikTok I have to show you is called a scrap yarn plush. You might have seen those like scrap yarn blankets, scrap yarn shirts that people make out of their yarn scraps. But it never occurred to me that you could do like a little amigurumi plush with scrap yarn. And this little triceratops looks so good. I wouldn't have even picked it as scrap yarn because it just looks like it has a bunch of different colors for a bunch of different stripes. It's so adorable. And I have so many yarn scraps and so many plushie patterns I want to make. You know I'm going to be making some scrap yarn plushies soon. Next pattern is a temperature snake. If you like those temperature blankets people do, but you don't have enough time to commit to a blanket or you don't have enough yarn, you could make a temperature snake. Start off the head with your color of choice and then each day add a row of whatever temperature it was. Or there are lots of other things you could do, like you could do a mood snake, you could have a key for your moods, or you could use it to track like one of your hobbies or interests. Like I saw someone do one of these for Taylor Swift surprise songs. So when they tuned into the secret songs at Taylor Swift's Eras tour, they would do a color for each era. I think it got a bit harder when she started doing mashups. But if you have a sport you follow or you want to keep track of like how many crochet projects you do a day and have like a color code for that, there are so many options. Okay, so I saw this TikTok and it was like, you're assigned to mix these yarns, and I was like, that's not gonna look that cool. How insanely awesome does that snake look? I never would have imagined it could look so cool. It just looks like it's like a Chanel plush, but then it has like this changing color pattern going all around. Really awesome stuff. I've mentioned blankets a few times. Now we have an actual blanket. This one is a weighted blanket. Somebody crocheted a weighted blanket using those like big pony beads. And it looks heavy. It looks weighted. It also just looks really pretty. My weighted blanket is right here. This is my weighted blanket. A little bit hard to hold up because of the weighted bit. But how much cuter would it look having a colorful beaded blanket? Okay, another crochet project with beads. I get very excited when people include beads in crochet projects. I've never done it before, but it's definitely on the list. It's not only is beaded crochet, it's beaded micro crochet. And you can see they're making like a kind of tube and you're like, wow, that looks cool. Wow, that looks really cool. It's a whole bag. If I just saw a picture of that bag, it wouldn't even cross my mind that that had been crocheted. It looks so professional. It looks like all the beads have been sewn onto a bag. The pattern is absolutely beautiful and I bet it's such a nice texture to feel. I'm gonna crochet one of my own just so I can feel that texture. This one is one of my favorite patterns on the list. I love fairies. I literally have a whole dog called Fairy lying right here, and these are fairy wings for your shoes. With these, you can make as many different kinds of wings as you like and put them on as many different shoes as you like. Obviously, they have to be laced shoes, but look how beautiful they look. Then you can walk around with your little fairy wings. You can match your fairy wings to the outfit. This is so creative. This is so cool. I'm beyond obsessed with these. Another fairy TikTok, we have somebody who crocheted their own fairy wings. Now, instead of starting from scratch, they bought some costume fairy wings. They got rid of the existing fabric and they did a bunch of crocheting and then crocheted it into the wireframe of the fairy wings. They look so pretty. Fairy wings are one of those things that's like, how do you even start with fairy wings? How do you make them stand up? You just get an existing fairy wing frame and add crocheting to it. I want to make some of those for me and Fairy. We could have a little matching photo shoot. Next, we've got Hooked by Aiden, who's showing off their crochet art pieces. So they take flat canvases and they make pieces of art out of little crochet pieces. I assume they also painted the canvas. It's so creative. It's something I never would have thought to do. I would have thought like, oh, you want to make flat crochet, you probably have to do like a tapestry crochet kind of thing. No, you can make a whole bunch of appliques and stick them on a canvas. You can stick some plushies on a canvas and make it 3D. Next, I've got some more crochet art, this time of the tapestry crochet variety. So this person has put together the patterns for a bunch of famous paintings so you can crochet your own little art gallery. This kind of thing is what I've been saying for probably like a year now. I want to make like a little crochet tapestry gallery along here, along my wall. How awesome does it look when you just have like a bunch of little art crochet pieces on your wall? Next, we have magnets. Crocheting with magnets. What are we going to do with magnets? We're going to make cute little plushies that are attracted to each other. This would be so cute to crochet for you and a partner or you and your best friend. Like, this same crochet artist made this TikTok TikTok and I was like, what am I even looking at? Is that some kind of like plumbing device? No, it's so your plushies can dance. You crochet around them and make little groovy dancing plushies. These remind me so much of, you know, that like cactus that dances? You can make your own version and you can make it any kind of creature you like. Okay, one final TikTok from High Crochet Official because they have so many cool creative ideas. Another moving plushie. They've got those like little plastic walking things and then they crochet a plushie to put on top so that your plushie can walk. How do they come up with these things? I don't know, but I want to do all of them. Next, we've got a type of granny square I have never seen before. It's called a squiggle square. Not sure if that's the official name or just what the person has called it, but look at that. It's like a granny square, but in 3D. It has bits that go up and go around. It's so cool. You can use them for all your normal granny square needs. This person made them into a vest and it just gives it like a really cool groovy look. Everyone's used to like a granny square jumper, but it's like granny square jumper groovy version. Next we've got Zoe talking about surface crochet and showing off her surface crochet jumpers. I discovered surface crochet was a thing on TikTok. I shared it in my last TikTok's video. It's basically when you have like a flat piece of crochet that already exists and then you use slip stitches to make like cool patterns on top of your flat crochet, like you can see here. It's such a creative way to add intricate patterns onto your crochet pieces without having to do like a bunch of color changes, have a whole color chart, the whole tapestry crochet thing, and it looks so clean and so smooth. I am just in love with surface crocheting. Okay, this one is fun. If you don't like Pokemon, if you don't know who this is a Pokemon named Sphere. I'm sure you can all appreciate just how grand, just how huge this is. And it has a whole infrastructure inside and it rolls. So Spheres are like seal Pokemon that roll around and they've literally created it. They've created one that rolls. This is also really smart because if you were going to crochet something that big using stuffing, you'd need like 10-20 bags, but they've just used like a frame, so they've just crocheted around it instead of having to use all that stuffing. I mean, if you want a plushie, if you want someone to cuddle that big, go for your life, but that's also another way to do it. Don't know anything about how you make those frames. I need to go down a little DIY rabbit hole if you want to figure that out, but let's appreciate the creative thinking of that giant rolling sphere. Oh, you like this feel, do you? Next, I have another giant crochet project. It's not actually with me, it's on my phone. It is a blanket that turns into a bouquet. So you may have seen last year, there were little flower coasters that were going viral. So you'd have them all wrapped up and they'd seem like a little flower bouquet or a little pot of flowers. And then you'd open them up to be a coaster with flowers on the edge. And now someone has gone and done the same thing, but for a blanket. So you have a nice cozy blanket to wrap yourself in. And then when you're done with the blanket, you wrap it up and you've got a whole bouquet. Much more exciting than just folding your blanket up and have it sitting there. Next up we have a rug. It's officially a rug, but you could use it as like a wall hanging. Like imagine how good it would look on my wall. If you like having kind of fake plants in your room, if you have like a fairy core kind of vibe going on, it would make good floor or good wall decor. I haven't even explained what it is, but you can basically see it's a moss rug. They've used some looping crochet stitches, they've added a bunch of pom-poms, they've got lots of different shades of green and lots of different textures, so it literally looks like a bunch of random little moss and grass growing out of your floor. Okay, this one's another little fairy core thing. Let's not ruin the stop motion reveal. Also, aside from the crocheting in this, how creative is this video? How did they do that stop motion? Like when I'm crocheting, I get in a zone. Like I forget that I'm a human, I'm crocheting, I'm not thinking about filming it, but this person took their piece of crocheting and after like every row or every few rows that they put it back on their mannequin so that they could make this beautiful stop motion video showing their progress. Or did they crochet it like straight onto the mannequin? I don't know. I don't actually crochet very many clothing pieces. Certainly none as cool as this, but this makes me really want to. Absolutely gorgeous little cardigan. You've got flowers growing out of your wrist. It's even got a little tie with flowers. It's giving such fairy vibes. Next, I have another flower clothing piece. They've crocheted this little yellow corset and then they've used those like embroidered iron-ons to add some flowers to their design. It's such a cool crafty combination and it looks so good. I love clothing pieces that have embroidered flowers on them. I'm such a big fan. I never would have thought it would be possible to make my own in this way. You could just crochet any kind of clothing piece and then select your embroidered flowers and iron them on. I don't know if they actually iron them on. There's a good chance they sewed them on. I don't actually know their specific technique, but whatever they did, it looks amazing. Now this is cool. They're doing crocheting, but then they're pulling up loops and putting them over a ruler. What are they doing? What is this going to turn into? Surprise, it's another flower. I'm sorry. I have a lot of flower crochet projects. I'm a big flower girly. I know I've said how cool, how creative, but it's so cool and creative. Instead of crocheting the pieces of the flower, I know, fairy, I know. And they've done all these loops and it's just like a technique of crocheting. I was like, damn, I never thought you could do that. The next crochet project is some giant granny squares. I have never seen a granny square this big. I've never even imagined a granny square this big. But it's probably a lot more efficient to make a blanket out of giant granny squares than little granny squares. This talk says the power of brushing yarn. What do you mean brushing yarn? What do you mean? If I had just seen that hat without seeing the before bit, I would assume they'd use some special type of fluffy yarn. But no, you can just use your yarn and brush it out. Have this really cool like fluffy soft effect. They've used this effect to make a character of a beanie. It looks so cute. Even if you're using this to make a beanie that wasn't a character, it's just such a cool texture it creates. It looked really cool on like a jumper or a cardigan too. It just looks so soft and nice. Next we have a crochet fidget toy. I spent so long watching this, trying to figure out where the pieces join. How is it possible that it moves like that? How is it possible that it spins like that and it just keeps going and the pieces keep interlocking? That's some very cool crochet engineering right there. It looks very fun to play with. I want one. I need one. How does it work? How do you make it? I don't know. Alright, next TikTok is just an appreciation post for glitter yarn. Crocheting with yarn that has like sequins in it or some kind of glitter or sparkle in it is such a fun experience. Just watching your own crocheting grow with these cool different yarns. It's just so cool to see how like the sequins come together or the sparkles come together. I definitely recommend it if you've never tried. And then when you finish the piece, it just gives this like extra wow factor because it looks like you've maybe embroidered the sequins in or you've like added the sparkles afterwards. But no, it was all in the crocheting. The final crochet TikTok that I have to share today is somebody who has turned their little crocheting into stickers. So they've got some little crochet appliques which they've put what I think is double-sided tape on the back to use them as stickers to put on their headphones. They look absolutely adorable on the headphones, but you could crochet up a bunch of little appliques to stick anywhere. You could use them as wall decor, you could stick them on your stationery, stick them on your laptop. It is so cute and so much fun, and there's a whole YouTube tutorial if you want to learn exactly how to do these ones. Well, I hope that you are feeling very inspired and excited about crocheting after seeing all the amazing things that these crochet artists have done with crocheting. All their TikToks are linked in the description, so if you want to find out more about a particular project, you can go to the link and check out the person's whole TikTok account. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you soon. Bye! Oh, Fairy came to say goodbye as well. That's so kind of you, honey. Bye!